friend. Welcome to the Fruitful Fertility Podcast. Do you want to better understand your body so you can get pregnant naturally? Do you find yourself up late at night Googling how to ovulate on your own or natural fertility tips? Do you feel lost on what your next step should be? Hey, I'm Tori, a registered nurse, Christian fertility coach, and your new TTC BFF. When I started my fertility practice, I realized how much the modern medical system was missing when it came to supporting women trying to get pregnant. I knew God had called me to this space to bridge that gap and provide more natural fertility support and education. With time and a little trial and error, I found a foundational way to assess infertility cases and get better results. In this podcast, you will finally understand how your body and fertility work, support to stay off that emotional roller coaster, and a proven strategy to improve ovulation and increase your fertility naturally. If you're ready to get started, drop those ovulation sticks and grab a pen because, girl, you look fertile to me. Okay, this week we are bringing technology on the TTC scene. We are going to talk about 4 helpful ways we can use ChatGPT to boost fertility. And that sounds a little silly to say in a way, like, here's how we're going to use this robot to improve our fertility. But I have found ChatGPT to be so good at helping just untangle all the confusion around certain topics, certain things, finding information. And so while, of course, ChatGPT is never going to replace medically trained professionals, people, connections, like someone to actually look you in your eyes and talk to you, I think it really can fill some gaps that we have in our fertility journey, and it will actually help us move forward and take actionable steps. So we're going to talk about those four helpful ways to use it. And then at the end, I'm going to give you some tips to make it super, like, to use it really, really well to get the actual answers you want. Because the more specific we are, the more information we put in, the more we season our ChatGPT, the better answers it gives us that are aligned with us and our values and who we are. So let's jump right in. The absolute number one way you can use ChatGPT is to read your cycle charting or to analyze your cycle charting. So that can be your LH strips, your Aneto monitor chart, or your KEGG chart. And it's really cool because this is what I see most often in Facebook groups. In all these fertility groups, people are uploading pictures of their cycle and asking, like, did they ovulate? What does this mean? What does that dip mean? Why is my temperature still high? You know, all kinds of good questions. And ChatGPT can really break this down for you. And another reason why I think this is helpful is because sometimes in these Facebook groups, you're getting information that is true for someone else and it may not be true for you. And it can be accurate. I'm not saying you're always getting inaccurate information, but people are also sharing what worked for them, and that might not be fitting for you. So this is why ChatGPT can read it like really unbiased, really clear, like here is the science behind why your LH spiked or why your estrogen dipped. So upload a picture of your cycle, however you charted it, whether it be your Flow app or, again, Aneto or even paper charting or just LH strips, and ask it to analyze your cycle. And it can give you some really good information. You can even ask, hey, did I ovulate this cycle? What does this mean? Ask it specific questions about your cycle. Number 2, it can help you interpret symptoms. So again, ChatGPT is not your doctor. It's just a robot, but it can still help you kind of navigate what your symptoms might mean. So you could say, hey, my periods are normally 5 to 6 days. This last cycle, it was a little bit shorter. My cramps were a little more painful. What could this mean? And ChatGPT can give you some options. And you'll find the more you use it, the more you'll find, like, okay, that's not fitting. I'm not going to use that. Oh, this actually sounds like it might be right. And then you can dig a little bit more into it. But it can really help you understand, like, why you might be having the symptoms you're having. And when we understand that, it helps us understand what our next steps are. So you can always, and ChatGPT will naturally follow up with a question like, your period might be doing that because you have low progesterone. Would you like a 3-day long progesterone boosting plan? And you're like, yes, absolutely. So after you ask it these questions, it'll actually give you tangible steps you can take. Number 3, which is my personal favorite way to use ChatGPT, is to use it as a meal planner. So we know that the way we eat and what we eat is really important for improving fertility. It helps balance blood sugars. We need to hit our protein goals. those kinds of things. So you can type in ChatGPT, talk to it like it's a person. This is not a formal Google Doc or a report you're sending in. Talk to it like it's an actual person. So for example, for me, I will type in something like, I need to hit my protein goal of 100 grams a day. So give me 3 meals a day that have 30 grams of protein each. Use mostly whole foods and don't use tomatoes. I don't personally like tomatoes. So that's something, like I don't want it to give me a tomato salad recipe because I don't like tomatoes. So you could even say what you do and don't like, maybe if you have any allergies, or if you're gluten free. So, and it'll in the matter of seconds, it'll say, here's your meal plan for the week. And I have used that so many times. And that's really helpful because a lot of times we're using our mental energy for so many things, work, planning, especially with fertility. You're timing things, you're peeing on strips, you're buying supplements, and we just need to save our mental energy, and ChatGPT can help us do that. So use it as your meal planner. Number 4 is use it to understand scans, imaging, and labs, and also things doctors say. So this kind of is like the cycle chart. So let's say that you got an ultrasound done, or you had some blood labs drawn. You could upload those into ChatGPT. You could upload a picture and say, what do these labs mean? What does this ultrasound mean? And again, this is a computer. This is not exact science, right? So I don't want you to take anything it says completely to heart. We do have to use our human brain to understand that this is just a robot helping us, but a very intellectual one. But you can use it and say like, hey, what does this conclusion mean at the end of this ultrasound? Because a lot of times with ultrasounds or films, they use really fancy words. Those radiologists the impression, and it'll say, not remarkable, and you're like, what does that actually mean? So this is a place where you can ask ChatGPT to kind of translate the results of your scans. Like, hey, what does this mean? And it will help you understand your scans and things doctors say. Because a lot of times, tell me if this sounds like you, a lot of times what can happen is we go to the doctor, they tell us whatever, we ask questions, or maybe we don't ask questions, they just say, hey, you need to start Clomid. And they go over a few things, and your brain's kind of spinning after they said you need to start Clomid, so you don't really hear what they said. This is a great time to go back into ChatGPT with the questions you have and say, hey, my doctor suggested Clomid. Why did he suggest that? Or, what are the side effects of taking Clomid? All the things that you wish you'd asked your doctor, you could get more information on. You can take the information from your appointment and ask ChatGPT. This is hard to say. You can take what you were told in your appointment and ask ChatGPT to help you understand why your doctor suggested what they suggested, or to understand more about what it is they did suggest. So if it's a procedure, if it's a medication, all the things, just kind of helps you break it down. And the cool thing about using ChatGPT in this way is it really is an unbiased sounding board for you. So the doctors, fertility clinic has their plan. Like, again, think about what your doctor sells. Of course, our doctors are there to help us, but also depending on what area they work in, they're there to sell a certain thing. So if you go to the fertility clinic, they're going to quote unquote sell you IUI, IVF, because that is what they specialize in. They're not going to suggest, getting 100 grams of protein a day and all these things. If you come to me, I'm going to quote unquote sell you holistic lifestyle changes, HTMA testing, walking protein, because that is what I quote unquote sell. So you always want to consider the source. And with ChatGPT, it's not trying to sell you anything. It's not promoting anything. It's not a doctor. It's not a health coach. It's not anything but just a database of knowledge. And so it can give you that really unbiased, like, hey, I don't think IVF is your next step. You could do this, this, and this. Or it might say, here, would you like to look at some supplements that I suggest? Those kinds of things. It's just really, really neat that it has no agenda but to give you the absolute best answer. Here's a few tips for how to get the absolute best out of ChatGPT if you are using it in this way. Number 1 is to be super specific. Don't ask it generic questions. Don't upload your labs and say, what do these labs mean? I mean, you could do that. Don't get me wrong. And the more you practice, the more you'll get good at knowing what to get specific about. But maybe you upload your labs and say, here are my labs. The doctor said they were normal. Tell me which ones I could still optimize. Tell me why my TSH at this number is beneficial or not beneficial to fertility. Like, try to pull certain things out that you can get really specific about. And especially as you're telling ChatGPT about you wouldn't want to just ask it generic questions like, how can I boost my fertility? You would want to say, hey, I'm Tori. I'm a 37-year-old female with a history of XYZ. Here's what my periods are like. Here's what I'm currently doing. What can I do to boost my fertility? That gives ChatGPT so much more information to work with to give you more personalized answers. The number 2 tip is to ask it to ask you questions. A lot of times if I'm using ChatGPT for something, and I use ChatGPT for a lot of stuff, I'm not gonna lie. I use it for like finding my best colors in my closet. I use it for exercise routines. I use it for meal planning. But ask it to ask you questions to get a better understanding of who you are. So let's say you're using it to help you meal plan. You can say, ask me questions to help me find the best meal plan for me. And it might say like, hey, do you like this? Do you have any allergies? How much time do you have to cook? It'll ask you questions so that it can give you better answers. So I almost always, if I'm using it to try to make a plan for something, I'll almost always say, ask me 3 questions about me or this plan before giving me the plan, if that makes sense. And the last tip is to ask it to explain on a 7th grade reading level. And ChatGPT will kind of naturally do this, kind of like take things down, but especially if you're using it to understand your labs or medical jargon on imaging, things like that, it may use medical terms that are still just as confusing as the original scans or the original paperwork. So you can say, hey, here is my ultrasound from last week. Please help me understand the conclusion and impression and explain it to me on a 7th grade reading level. It is not that we are dumb, guys, but we just want to break it down into the simplest form. So if we tell ChatGPT that, it will break it down into words we can actually understand, which makes everything so much easier. I am admittedly someone who was very anti-ChatGPT. I didn't like AI. I didn't want to use it, didn't want to learn it. And now that I've kind of incorporated it into my routine, it does, again, not replace people in my life, but it does help me plan and move forward. So let's recap these really quick. You can use it to read your cycle charting. You can use it to help you interpret symptoms. You can use it to help you understand scans, imaging, labs, things your doctors say, or you can use it as a meal planner, and it's kind of an unbiased sounding board. Be specific, ask ChatGPT to ask you questions, and ask it to explain to you on a 7th grade reading level. And this will be a really good way just to get more information. And then if you want a human to talk you through it, you want human feedback, come join us in the Conception Connection. I'm really working on ChatGPT prompts to put in that group, very similar to this. So as you're going through the program and the curriculum and finding your very own fertility boosting routine, that you can have some ChatGPT prompts to help you. But in that group, we also have partners. We have monthly group coaching calls. So I don't want you doing this alone. I don't want you isolated on your computer with ChatGPT every day. I want you in fellowship with Christian women who are trying to get pregnant with you, trying to reach the same goal as you, and we can do it together. We'll use a little bit of ChatGPT, but we will do this together. So come join us. That is linked below in the show notes, and I will see you next week. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If this episode touched your heart or taught you something, I'd be honored if you share it with a friend who could use the information too. And if you want to be the real MVP, then would you also take 30 seconds to tap those 5 stars at the bottom and leave a written review telling me what you're loving? It lights me up to know this podcast is really helping you. Don't forget, you're super cute and super fertile, so meet me back here next week and let's keep chatting and learning together.